Hello people, today we are going to learn about some of the terms or definitions on stockholder equity. So let's get started. What is additional paid in capital? An account showing the amounts invested in corporation by stockholders in excess of par value or stated value. In short, account shows paid in capital in excess of legal capital. Who are board of directors? Persons elected by common stockholders to direct the affair of corporation. What is book value per share? The stockholders' equity represented by each share of common stock computed by dividing common stockholder equity by number of common shares outstanding. What is capital stock? Transferable units of or ownership in a corporation, a board term that can refer to common stock, preferred stock, or both. What is closely held corporation? A corporation owned by a small group of stockholders, not publicly owned. What is common stock? A type of capital stock that possesses the basic rights of ownership, including right to vote, represents the residual element of ownership in a corporation. What's contributed capital? The increase to stockholders' equity that result from capital contributions by investors in exchange for shares of common or preferred stock, also referred as paid-in capital. What are corporations? A business organized as a legal entity separate from its owners, chartered by the state with ownership divided into shares of transferable stock. Stockholders are not liable for debts of the corporation. Dividends distribution of asset. This is usually cash by corporation to its stockholders, as we all know about dividends. Normally viewed as a distribution of profit, it cannot exceed the amount of retained earnings, must be formally declared by the board of directors, and distributed on a per share basis. Stockholders cannot simply withdraw asset from corporation at will. What is dividend yield? The annual dividend paid to share of a stock expressed as a percentage of stock market value indicates the rate of return represented by the dividend. What is donated capital? An account showing capital given to a corporation for which no payment has been made and for which no capital stock has been issued in exchange, shown in balance sheet as an element of paid-in capital. What is double taxation? The fact that corporate income is taxed to the corporation when earned and then again taxed to the stockholder when distributed as dividends. What is legal capital? Equal to the par value or stated value of the capital stock issued. This amount represents a permanent commitment of a capital by the owners of corporation and cannot be removed without special legal action. Of course, it may be eroded by losses. Limited personal liability. The concept that the owners of a corporation are not personally liable for the debt of the business. The stockholders' potential financial losses are limited to the amount of their equity investment. What is paid in capital? This is different than additional paid in capital, which we saw before. The amount invested in corporation by its stockholders also includes donated capital. What is par value or stated value? The legal capital of a corporation represents the minimum amount per share invested in the corporation by its owners and cannot be withdrawn except by special legal action. What is preferred stock? A class of capital stock usually having preferences as to dividends and in the distribution of assets in the event of liquidation. What is public information? Information that by law must be made available to the general public includes the quarterly and annual financial statement and other financial information about publicly owned corporation. What is publicly owned corporation? Any corporation whose shares are offered for sale to the general public. What is retained earning? The element of owner's equity in a corporation that has accumulated through profitable business operation. Net income increases retained earning. Net losses and dividend reduce the retained earning. What is state of incorporation? The state in which the corporation is legally formed. This may or may not be the state in which the corporation conducts most of or any of its businesses. Stock certificate, a document issued by a corporation or its transfer agent as evidence of ownership of the number of shares stated on the certificate. What is stockholders? The owner of corporation. The name reflects the fact that their ownership is evidenced by transferable shares of capital stock. What is stockholder subsidiary ledger? A record showing the number of shares owned by each stockholder. Who is stock registrar? An independent fiscal agent, usually a large bank retained by a corporation to provide assurance against over issuance of stock certificate. Stock split. An increase in the number of shares outstanding with corresponding decrease in the par value per share. The additional shares are distributed proportionally to all common shareholders. The purpose of stock split is to reduce market price per share and encourage wider public ownership of the company's stock. A 2:1 stock split will give each stockholder twice as many shares as previously owned. In this case, the price of the stock is reduced in case of stock split. What is stock transfer agent? A bank or a trust company retained by the corporation to maintain its record of capital stock ownership and make transfer from one investor to another. What is treasury stock share? Treasury treasury stock shares of corporations stock that have been issued and then reacquired but not cancelled. What is underwriter? An investment banking firm that handles the sale of a corporation stock to the public. So, guys, these are all the definitions based on the topic stockholder equity. So, I hope you got some idea on these key terms, and try to remember them because all these terms will be used later in the accounting tutorial. Thank you for watching and come back to my channel for more videos on accounting and other things. Thanks.